Hey everybody, welcome. This blog post I've been looking forward to doing quite a while. This one is to do with converting an internal combustion engine to run on water. We have all the details from a detailed patent that I'm going to share with you right now. So let's get started. I'll share my screen and let's see here. So this right here is the patent, and it begins with an introduction from someone in particular. I'm not sure who the person is, frankly, but they describe essentially a device that um, will, convert an internal combustion engine to run on water. And right here, basically to power an engine. And again, I'll have a link to this full document for you in the blog post details. So basically, to power an engine by using the system, the gasoline carburetor is removed and replaced by the Horvath fuel generator unit, which couples to the accelerator linkage for control. The system is very sophisticated and operates automatically to produce and deliver what is needed in terms of the mixture. So you don't have to, apparently you don't have to have tanks here to store any additional fuel. And it says here that no conventional fuel is used by this system. Only distilled water is consumed from an electrolyte solution. And let's see here. It says only 22 amperes of DC current are required to break down the water molecule and to deliver that as fuel to the engine. So then he goes on to describe different patents by the inventor. And then he goes on to sort of speak to the critics out there, which I thought was interesting, right? He says that the patent will generate controversy. Many will claim the water alone cannot serve as fuel. Critics are strong in theoretical put downs. They never engage in firsthand actions or investigations. They are intellectual cowards. So really, the way I would address this part here is, look, let's say someone built this thing, which I know of a couple actually that are set to be operational. I'm working with members now of the CE5 team, which was developed by Dr. Stephen Greer. So they're working on devices, and this is one technology they're going to be focusing on, although not this particular approach to using water, but a similar approach, which I can share with you guys in a future post, and hopefully have some of the members on for interviews. And essentially, if you build something that's running on water and you're not trying to make $1 million and attract investors and file for patents, but you're essentially, doing what this says here, right? You're essentially running a device, right? No conventional fuel. And you have, I don't know, a fleet of cars for your business because you deliver pizzas, or you're um, having generators that you're building for customers that run to power their RVs, whatever that the case may be for you. Do you really care that it's verified and validated and tested by a third party if it's doing what it says it's supposed to be doing? I mean, it's a fair question. I wouldn't care. I frankly, if I'm using it for what I need it to be using and it's doing what it's supposed to be doing, I don't need a lab to tell me that um, that it's not some sort of fraud claim, right? I don't, it doesn't matter to me. Obviously, there's going to be public government regulations on any things you might want to do if you want to sell this in the open public space. However, if that's not something you want to do, you want to keep this in the private realm and not deal with the public arena, which is something that I'm also gonna discuss with everybody. Because I interviewed someone that focuses on that, which is essentially the study of sovereignty. Um, then you could do that as well. You don't have to engage in the public domain and still do these things. So anyways, who cares if you got people on social media saying it's a bunch of crap that are probably disinformation artists? Ignore that. Continue with the mission, continue with the development and release of this work. Avoid monetization through obstacles that are designed to entrench and hold you down, right? And limit progress, and expand yourself and the use and the availability of this technology to make your life and to make your community's life better. That's it. So another thing I found interesting here, let me see if I can find this one particular quote. Let's see here. Where is that? There it is. So there's people that say, hey, that you can't get output energy greater than the input energy, right? So that's over unity. And here he says, we see instances every day of over unity, right? Which the output obtained exceeds the input. And I thought, really, where do we see that? And he said, think about it this way. A single match can burn down a large building. That's pretty interesting, right? So the initial energy introduction of a match can result in the output energy of an entire building burning down. I thought that was interesting. Or what we can see from atomic bombs, that's an interesting, although, more grave scenario. So I thought that was an interesting quote. And then another point that he raised here is, let's see, he talks about the heat of combustion. Gosh, let's see. Well, he talks about the heat of combustion of a pure hydrogen oxygen mixture is greater than that of gasoline and air mixture of comparable volume. So let me see if I can find that. There it is. So there it is. So the heat of combustion of a pure hydrogen and oxygen mixture is greater than that of a gasoline and air mixture of comparable volume. And so I thought that was an interesting point, because this has sort of been, I think, an area where people that talk about using hydrogen, some of the publicly discovered research doesn't make this finding, right? They don't have this finding from what I understand. The composite mixture of air, hydrogen, and oxygen can be supplied directly to conventional internal combustion engine without overheating and without creation of a vacuum in the system. So anyways, I thought that was interesting, and that brings us to the patent. So you can pull this patent down from the patent office. Just search by the number. And this is a fuel supply apparatus for internal combustion engines. According to the individuals, whoever this is, ARO, wrote this, they're saying that this patent contains enough specific data to replicate the system. However, you have to be a skilled engineer with a lab and materials to do this. And frankly, this would probably be my second choice for trying to duplicate something. If I was going to do this myself and I had a lab, this would be, for me, super exciting. So anyways, here's the patent. There's the design, or one of the designs that appears as a device, but here's a schematic of an engine. He talks about where the device would fit in this particular cavity of the motor, so you don't have to have a new motor. You just you insert the device and it would be used to adapt any motor, which, I mean, just think about that. That's so amazing. That is so amazing. So I guess this is the electrical schematic of how the ignition switch is used. I think this is the device right here used to power the device for electrolysis. There's an image of it right there. And there are the inner workings of it. So again, super, super interesting. This would be one that I would happily take on if I had, again, the expertise and the equipment. And any notes, feedback, anyone out there that be curious about jumping on something like this, please let me know. On that note, I will let you all go. Again, there will be a link to this document included in the notes of the blog post. Here's all the breakdowns of each figure with what everything means. That's a pretty thick patent. Definitely larger, more data than the average patent I've seen. So again, I think it's very interesting. And one last thing to note, you'll see at the end, there are some corrections made here, which I thought were worth noting. Although the people that reviewed the patent and made the copy of this patent, they kind of added notes, I think, where all these things pertain. So that said, I will share one other document with you all. And we'll go from there. Let me see if I can pull up. Let's see here. Okay, so the next thing I will share with you all is, let's see here, is an introduction to our upcoming post. And this is going to be an interview with the founder of Sacred Honor. And so this is Michael Joseph, and Sacred Honor is essentially an organization that helps people establish sovereignty in their life. So there are contracts in your life, and every day in your everyday life, there are contracts that you're engaged with that you may or may not know what the ramifications are of those contracts. One example would be a driver's license. We get a driver's license. One of the contracts inherent in that, or one of the requirements inherent in that contract of the driver's license is, for example, jury duty, right? There are other things that are linked to a lot of these contracts, and understanding how to protect yourself and your family and your property from a lot of these contracts or commitments you're making is very important. There are some things, and I'm not going to get into it here, but there are some things that we engage on in our everyday that expose us in ways we may not want to be exposed. And so Michael talks about that. I had the opportunity to interview him, and it will be a recorded interview. You'll be able to listen to everything he has to say about it. They have a great program. And, again, like it says here, join us as we step into self-governance and liberate ourselves from a tyrannical system of control. Step onto your personal path of liberation by learning with us and being prepared for the world we face today. So if this resonates with you, I strongly encourage you to visit their website and tune in for the upcoming posts. I'm going to try to do these a lot more consecutively going forward, because, again, there's so much data to cover. So a pleasure to connect with everyone, and look forward to our next conversation.